2008 comes along, and I'm a youth pastor at the time, and this wave of new atheism comes through the high school and the college students at the church. And I find myself seeing many kids, even kids that were raised in the church, falling away from Christ. And in fact, rejecting the existence of God, becoming full out atheists even. I was like, I am supposed to be a shepherd here. And this young man is becoming an atheist and is arguing with me and is bringing other students with him, and he winds up leaving the church. And I was like, how do I answer these questions? Because I can't answer any of his objections against the existence of God. And I started trying to find the answers. I realized no other pastors had them in the area, at my church or anywhere else. I was even looking in big cities like, in Nebraska, like Omaha. And finally on Google, I found some guy named William Lane Craig. And I start watching his debates and reading his stuff. And I just got addicted to his debates. Before I started reading any of his books, I was just watching all his debates, one after another. I'm like, oh man, this guy, he's answering all these questions from this young man. What a great Calvinist he must be, because he's so intellectual. And I was always under the impression that it was the Calvinists who were the ones committed to sound doctrine and intellectual thinking. And I was like, man, this William Lane Craig, he's got to be the best Calvinist out there. And so I'm just eating up everything. And then I watched this debate between him and Christopher Hitchens that took place at Biola, actually. I was just blown away because Christopher Hitchens was normally such a, great wordsmith and could just always capture the crowd. And William Lane Craig was just toying with this guy, answering all of his objections, and then hammering him with his own against atheism, and he had nothing, right? But one thing stood out to me. Christopher Hitchens tried to put Dr. Craig in a corner at one point in their cross-examination. And he said, I can't remember exactly what he said, but something to the effect of like, tell me one thing that you disagree with many Christians about, or something like that. And Dr. Craig paused for a moment and thought, and he goes, well, I don't think Calvinism's true. And I went, no, what? This doesn't make sense. So the first thing I did then was I went to Google and I was like, William Lane Craig, Calvinist, or something like that. and all this stuff on something called Molinism came up. And I was like, what? What is Molinism? I had no idea.